You ever watch that one movie as a kid and you thought you made it up like some weird fever dream, and then years later you find out that movie actually exists? Well, Rock-A-Doodle is one of those movies. Rock-A-Doodle is a very weird movie based off an old play known as Chanticleer from the 1910s. It was actually going to be a Disney movie, at least they were going to adapt the same story. Of course, it's done by the Don Bluth studio. A lot of people know them. This is the film that basically killed that studio. Released in 1991, it failed miserably, making only $11 million on an $18 million budget. That is sad. It's a shame it failed, because Bluth Studio had like, some good films under its belt already. It dominated animation in the 1980s when Disney was lacking, and Disney's like, well, we'll need to make our studio better, and when they did, they created the Renaissance, and those movies kind of blew the Don Bluth movies out of the water, even if they were good. The Renaissance movies you can't compete with. And what was Rock-A-Doodle competing with? Beauty and the Beast. That is a death sentence right there. Essentially, as a parent, you either show your kid an anime movie that was so good it was nominated for Best Picture, or you can watch the Singing Rooster Elvis movie. I don't know much about the original play, but I'm just going to judge the movie by how it is, and this movie is fucking weird. It's about the sun rising and setting, and the reason why it rises is because of a rooster. Yeah, I'm not joking, a rooster. The film wants to get us up close and personal with the rooster by going into his mouth. Like, whoa, that's way too close. Talk about personal boundaries, dude. Like, get on my face. So everybody loves this rooster guy named Chanticleer, who for some reason has the voice and personality of Elvis. One day he's fighting an evil chicken who's never explained, but it was set up by some other villain, but the chicken guy's never explained, and he forgets to crow, and the sun rises anyway, proving that he is a fraud. Everyone makes fun of Elvis the rooster, and he runs away, cries like a little bitch. Also, for some reason, the sun goes back down, even though it rose without him, and I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. The sun doesn't come back up until he sings his song again. And there's an evil owl who's fat and evil. All of a sudden, we're in live-action world, where a really bad kid actor is trying to get his mom to read more of the story, but there's a storm coming. As a kid, I was incredibly confused at this part. Like, what's going on? I thought it was an anime movie. Why is there a live-action part about a kid reading a book? I don't care about this. I want to go back to the animated world. At least that's what I remember. I kind of vaguely remember watching this as a kid. The weirdest part about this live-action segment is that there's a narrator over it, the same narrator in the beginning. Yeah, this movie has narration, and basically how the narration goes is, this is what happened, this character thought this way because of this, and that and what. The guy basically narrates literally every single aspect. It's like, geez Louise, cut some break, dude. We don't fucking need you to explain it. It's a movie. Show, don't tell. Especially in animation, where we can easily show stuff better than you can in live action. Even though we're looking at live action, the rest of the movies are animated, so don't worry. The narrator is this dog, by the way, who can't tie his shoes, and that's supposed to be funny. It's really not funny, and it's barely even addressed for the most part, so it's kind of pointless. The narrator's actually voiced the Disney characters before, like Baloo from the Jungle Book, and Baloo in Robin Hood. I mean, Little John. Why did they make the character look exactly the same as Baloo? He has the same voice actor and everything. Like, what the fuck? I'm mentioning that because this is his last ever film. Isn't that sad? Imagine this being your last film you ever made. What a shame. Even though the narration is annoying, he's the only voice actor that actually sounds good for the most part, because the little kid is what we get to hear, and his voice acting is awful.
Oh no! Uh-oh. 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 Uh-oh.
Anyway, the dumb kid sees a storm. It's like, oh my god, I can know how to help. I'll scream outside my window and see if the character from the children's book will show up, because I guess that will save the day or some bullshit like that. And it makes as much sense as he thinks it does. But instead, the evil owl guy comes in, and I don't know why. He just comes there, and he has magic breath. I'm not joking, and it doesn't make any sense. It seems broken, but at the same time, he doesn't use it very often. So it's like a character that has a broken ability and never uses it. So he kind of sucks ass. If you couldn't tell. Also, the live-action animation mixing is not very good in this movie for how little it's used, but at the same time, it looks like shit. The little kid has a spaz attack, and he's turned into a cat, or as he puts it,
I'm a furry.
This is what the kid looks like as a grown-up, by the way. Now, I can't really judge furries. After all, I like anthropomorphic characters. I mean, I'm a Sonic fan after all, but I don't really get the costume aspect. I mean, there's different types, but the costume ones, like, why would you want to be in a giant costume that's hot as shit? Like, what the fuck? So the dumb little kid who's now a cat, or a furry as he says, meets all the random and zany side characters who don't do anything. There's a dumb mouse, there's the dog, who I mentioned, who's also narrating every scene in excruciating detail, and there's this annoying crow guy who has the voice of the kid from Polar Express.
It's made for the city. Come on already.
Oh, and it turns out that they are the same voice actor. So here's a little scary image right now because the Polar Express had an awful CGI. Like, ugh, what was Robert Zemeckis thinking? You went from Back to the Future to this? Like, what the hell? Also, this character's name is Know-It-All. Great character name. Anyway, let's go back to the movie. The reason I mentioned this annoying character, I think it's a magpie or something like that, is that he's sexist. I'm not even joking, he's quite literally a sexist.
They think they know everything. Why don't you run home, be a mousewife, make cheese?
Nice.
This is the only time this character says shit like that. Like, fuck this character. I want to fucking wring him by the neck, motherfucker. So the owl decides to play on his organ because he's evil, and that's what evil characters do. If you couldn't tell, this character has the worst motivation of all time. And he also has his goon owl sing terrible songs to him because, you know, this is a musical. I say musical, but the songs last like 20 seconds, so how do they really count? But yeah, whatever. He hates the light because, you know, owls like the dark. That's how shallow and generic this villain is. On the way, they run into evil trees that takes them 1 second to dodge. So, ooh, yeah, it's very, very dangerous trees here. Because this is 1991, the internet it did kind of exist, but it wasn't widespread. The characters have a hard time finding the fucking rooster guy, even though he's technically a celebrity now, but he's changed his name to The King. Not to be confused with the animatronic of the same name and same inspiration. See, Santa Claus here became Elvis, quite literally. He's Elvis now, and everybody wants to fuck him or make love to him because everyone is a furry. Because they're chickens. Would you call being sexual attracted to a anthropomorphic bird a furry, or would that be a feathery? Who the hell knows, and why do I even asking this dumbass question? Speaking of furry, we get introduced to this character who was definitely not designed by someone who's really horny. Try to convince me the character designer who created this design was not horny or had a boner when making this character. Also, she fucks Rock-A-Doodle here, or whatever the hell his name is, Shanta or Elvis Bird. This movie is really shitty because it's just hard to explain what's even going on. It seems like, okay, we're going to find a character in the city, but no, the other characters that we focus on have a flashlight that's running out of batteries. That's a conflict those characters have.
They're running out of batteries.
Yes, that is something that actually happens in this movie. The villains sing a evil song about how the characters don't have any more batteries. This is fucking lame. Also, the characters dress up as penguins. You think this to be disguise themselves? You know, that kind of fails. But no, everybody for some reason dresses up like a penguin. Like, everybody, for no reason, is dressed up as a penguin. Because for some reason they get rid of no dogs, cats, birds, or mice, which is a pretty weird thing to even say. Like, is there, like, no one else like that? I mean, Chanticleer's is a bird. He's a fucking chicken rooster. What, I mean, I don't get it. But Chanticleer or Rock-A-Doodle, what even is Rock-A-Doodle? It's never said in the movie. It's not even his, like, stage name. That's the king. Like, come on, movie. Apparently, he's too busy getting a boner to care about going back to the farm. After all, they did say he's a fucking jackass, so why would he want to go back? Then there's convoluted escape scenes, and all the characters are doing their generic slapstick stuff. The little kid named Edmund has a terrible voice and is annoying and it reeks on your eardrums. And then they are on a car, and I guess the car they're on the roof for some reason. And the one mouse girl dies or something, and she goes away and gets exploded. And then this happens. He goes inside of his own eye and has a PTSD flashback of all the hardships he's had in his life. Like being told that he shouldn't be as scared anymore. And a guy playing golf, very scary. If you couldn't guess, this scene is entirely pointless. It makes no sense. How does he even run into his own eye? I don't get it. Man, he must have smoked some serious crack in order to see this stuff. So they eventually make it back to the farm, but then it turns out that
The farm is being closed down.
But for the power of rock and roll, Rock-A-Doodle here, which is what I'm going to call him, sings and the sun rises because, you know, that's all it took to save the day. Yeah, I guess they didn't have sunlight for a couple while, and the owl guy, he was giant, but then he gets sucked down because he's allergic to sunlight or something like that. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? But all the characters are sad because the little cat kid died, and then he transforms back into a human. It looks awful. The mixing doesn't look very good at all. Yeah, that totally looks like that hand is in the same spot as that mouse. But it turns out it was only just a dream. This is the part in the video where I play a clip from a music video, Just a Dream by Nelly, because I thought it'd be funny, but then I just realized that, wait, if I do that, I'll get copyrighted by the music, so I'll just edit the video so I won't get copyrighted by that. Because even talking over the shitty music video will get me copyrighted. Fuck you, YouTube. And fuck you, Nelly. Your song's shit. The kid is sad because it turns out that his whole dream was a fantasy that he made up. So he desperately wanted to go back to his weird fantasy world. He takes some LSD and envisions himself back in the world. Quite literally, he's now in the same world because he smoked LSD that his dad had. And wow, it looks so great. Look at him doing stunts. Wow, he looks like he's actually there. And that's the end of Rock-A-Doodle. More like Shit-A-Doodle. This movie's like only an hour long, and it feels that length. It is incredibly short and very underdeveloped. The characters suck. Pretty much anything that had the movie might have going. Some of the songs don't sound bad. I mean, I don't mind Elvis, and I think the guy who voices a Rock-A-Doodle doesn't have a bad voice either, but he sings for like 1 second most of the time. You barely hear it. It's like it's a movie that's ashamed to be a musical for some reason, despite the fact it's called Rock-A-Doodle. There's very little rock in the movie Rock-A-Doodle. Overall, it's not surprising why this movie failed miserably. The only people who like this movie are people who are attracted to chickens, and that's about it. Rock-A-Doodle is a movie that you can pretty much only enjoy if you're a kid. While the animation is not bad, even though the live-action mixing is horrible, which is not a whole lot of, and there is some interesting character designs. It looks good, just everything about it isn't very good. The story and characters are pretty awful, and the pacing is it's fast, but also doesn't let you sit on anything. So it's just a confusing movie that would entertain a kid's brain for just a little bit, and they might forget about the entire movie existing, and then grow up years later remembering, oh yeah, did I actually see that, or did I make that up? It turns out, no, you didn't make it up. You just saw Rock-A-Doodle. Anyway, that's it, and thank you for watching. Let me know what other movie you would like me to review. I'm open to suggestions, because I'm not too sure. But who knows what comes next? At this point, I don't know. But thank you for watching, and have a swell day. Or have a Rock-A-Doodle day. What's the name Rock-A-Doodle? Why do they call it that?